Good morning, everyone. I think we already have 22 participants, so maybe we can start with our the fourth webinar on SMERF, so transforming SMEs to be ready for the challenges of the future. Today's webinar is focused on open innovation and sharing economy aspects. Our agenda is that first we will introduce the project and then briefly the pillar. Then we will have the two experts, one in open innovation and the other expert in sharing economy. We will also have some possibilities of Q&A if you will be interested in asking the questions for our experts. And then we will proceed with the success stories on open innovation and sharing economy. And as well, finally, we will present the assessment model of the SMERF readiness. So I will start with sharing my screen, I hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mateusz Molasy. I'm the member of Lead Partners team from Wrocław University of Science and Technology, and it's my pleasure to present the project. In the European Union, small and medium-sized enterprises represent about 99% of businesses. However, SMEs, especially in Central Europe, are struggling with the negative socio-economic impact of COVID-19 pandemic, climate change-related challenges, demographic trends, migration. In our research, we found that there is a low level of innovation and adaptation of new technologies, as well as new business concepts and models in Central European countries. Many firms in Central Europe do not yet have sufficient capacities to adopt those new concepts and models. We found that the digitalization of businesses in Central Europe is below the EU average, and there is a particular need to support SMEs in adopting digital technologies. We found that while circularity is increasing in Europe, many regions are still lagging behind the EU average, particularly in Slovakia, Croatia, Poland, Hungary. We found that Central Europe exhibits low cooperation between major companies and startups, which could hinder the modernization of existing business processes and the introduction of innovative solutions. And finally, there are still unpredictable changes in the environment. Already mentioned pandemic, disrupted supply chains, accelerating and unpredictable development of AI, rapid climate change associated with global warming, demographic trends, population migrations, and so on. So SMEs are faced with the necessity of effectively adopting new market and social concepts and models. However, there is a lack of knowledge in this area, lack of human capital with appropriate competences, lack of good practices, lack of organizational and managerial capabilities. Also, governments need to create the optimal conditions for individuals to start and grow a business. The project focuses on supporting low-tech and medium-tech SMEs transition toward SMEs ready for the future, supporting the transformation towards readiness for future challenges. Our aim is to support over 160 SMEs by creating individual transformation scenarios based on assessment of their level of advancement in each pillar with the use of functionality of the expert system that we are developing. The tool will be called SMERF Diagnosis Tool. The project creates an approach by linking concurrently 4 pillars based on new concepts and models. The goals of interregional cooperation include creating an innovation-friendly culture, often underestimated in SMEs, accelerating or implementing digitalization in manufacturing, initiating or improving organizations' openness and encouraging them to adopt open innovation to zero tools and methods, including implementing the sharing economy concept in business, and implementing solutions and best practices in line with the Green Deal and circular economy principles, as well as sustainability. Each of our webinars is dedicated to one of those pillars. The outputs of the project should help SMEs to effectively transform and adopt innovative approaches. Moreover, we aim at providing new services to higher education institutions and intermediaries. Intermediaries we define as organizations either directly enhancing innovations development by providing support to SMEs, or entities closely cooperating with companies on innovations development. So entities that will enhance competences of SMEs and equally support them in 7 regions of Central Europe in their transformation journey. The project is based on the quintuple helix innovation model approach that focuses on the collaboration between academia, civil society, government, industry, and natural environment in fostering innovation. Innovation is seen here as emerging from interactions and collaborations among these 5 stakeholders. Well, what does it mean? The consortium is composed of 8 project partners from 7 Central European countries. The main idea behind the partnership structure is 4+4 rule, meaning we have 4 representatives of higher education institutions, that is Wrocław University of Science and Technology, Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, University of Genova from Italy, and Technical University of Košice from Slovakia, and on the other side 4 representatives of intermediaries. That is Business Upper Austria, that is Center of Research and Technological Innovation from Italy, that is Pannon Business Network Association from Hungary, and Stepri Science and Technology Park from Croatia. Our financing is 2.49 million euros funded from Interreg Central Europe program. What actions will we take? Well, first of all, we are developing inspiration knowledge base, online knowledge repository that combines both theory and also real-world practice. Inside, you will find the best practices, success stories, and insights revolving around the 4 pillars of the project. Ready for future audit methodology, this involves developing an audit framework, methodology and measurement system to help us determine the readiness level of small and medium-sized enterprises across these crucial 4 pillars. Moving on to the SMERF diagnosis tool, here we are assessing where SMEs stand across those pillars and then tailoring individual transformation scenarios for them. We're talking about at least 160 SMEs here. These scenarios aren't just about diagnosis, they offer actionable recommendations for organizational changes with those pillars, along with practical methods and solutions to help SMEs level up. Finally, SMERF trainings for mentors. These sessions will be dedicated for universities and business organizations keen on leveraging the SMERF tool effectively. We will introduce the SMERF Individual Support Program, a tailored support initiative designed around the SMERF diagnosis tool and the specific needs of SMEs. Within this program, companies will have access to 2 main types of support. Firstly, personalized mentorship programs featuring experienced mentors who will assist in developing detailed implementation plans for transformation and offer guidance on initial steps. And secondly, consultations with experts that will provide additional insights and support. Next on our agenda is the Inno Green Market initiative. This involves facilitating 16 study visits for SMEs, treating them as service or product providers, to connect with larger companies treated as service or product recipients. The goal here is to foster an exchange of experience and cultivate collaboration. Large companies will present their needs, while SMEs will showcase their services, gaining valuable insights into why transitioning towards SMERF is beneficial for them. Lastly, we have the behind-the-scenes workshop for policymakers. This aims to transfer best practices from more innovative regions such as Germany and Austria to less innovative ones like Poland, Croatia, Italy, Slovakia, and Hungary. It is dedicated effort targeting local and regional public authorities and business support organizations, aiming to empower them with insights to drive innovation and growth in their respective areas. At the end, let's look at our project's timeline. Our project began in April 2023. In the first year of project duration, we were focusing on research to define the SMERF concept. We developed a transformation process and built inspiration knowledge base that we are still updating. By April 2025, we will develop the SMERF diagnosis tool and support over 160 SMEs with individualized transformation scenarios based on their progress in each pillar. And in our final year, ending in April 2026, we will consolidate results, offer trainings for universities and business environment institutions, facilitate mentioned study visits, provide advanced support programs for over 24 SMEs. These programs will include mentoring, consultations with experts, and so on. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope that webinar will be interesting for you.
Okay, so that was a presentation regarding the project. I hope it was interesting for you. Question to Laura, do we have the Kahoot now or after the general presentation about the pillars? You are muted.
Sorry, yeah. I think it will be better to do it after.
Okay, so then we start with the presentation about the pillar, which is, of course, the just sharing option, which is ready for you now.
Hello, my name is Maria Rosienkiewicz. I'm representing the lead partner of the SMERF Consortium, Wrocław University of Science and Technology. Today, I would like to show you the presentation on the pillar 3 of our project, which is focused on open innovation and sharing economy. Let me share the presentation. Okay, so according to Henry Chesbrough, who is the father of open innovation, the innovation process is currently facing a paradigm shift. The way how companies innovate new ideas and bring them to the market is undergoing a fundamental change. Analysis of current trends shows that increasing number of companies is implementing elements of open innovation into their activities. Within our consortium, we have developed 2 definitions related to our pillar 3. The first one is SME ready for the future in open innovation. So it is a company that uses external inputs to accelerate internal innovation and enhance the product or service development and its market position. So the SME ready for future has established an organizational culture and mindset that supports co-creation and collaboration with external companies. SME ready for the future in sharing economy is a company obtaining, giving, or sharing access to resources it could not afford on its own and or only use infrequently, for example, machinery or human capital. So the SME ready for future focuses on using goods instead of owning them. It is often facilitated by a community-based online platform. Our consortium has developed a list of characteristic features of SME ready for future in open innovation and sharing economy. They include open innovation mindset and culture, open innovation initiatives, networks of partners and startups, external ideas and co-creation and crowdsourcing, model of owning and renting resources, and last but not least, sharing economy and utilization of resources. In the old days, there were so-called big fish who could decide whether an entrepreneur or inventor can get funding for their idea or a product or business. Nowadays, the situation changed. Now we have online platforms for crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, and people gather around this platform, decide whether an idea for a product, for a business is worth funding and support or not. So it is much easier now, thanks to open innovation, to establish new company, new business. This is obviously crowdsourcing, so an online distributed problem solving and production model that leverages the collective intelligence of online communities to serve specific organizational goals. We can distinguish 4 types of crowdsourcing, namely crowd wisdom, in which crowd shares their knowledge, crowd creation, which can be observed when a company turns to customers to create or co-create a product or a service, crowd voting, which possesses information on the basis of crowd judgments, and the most common, probably, crowdfunding. The last one can be defined as the process of taking a project or business in need of investment and asking a large group of people, which is usually the public, to supply this investment. Thanks to this new phenomena, this new ways of operating, new companies and new business models emerge on the market. One of an interesting example is Local Motors, which is a company focused on automotive industry, and they are using co-creation model. They define or they publish crowdsourcing-based innovation challenges, and in the result, people who win these challenges develop new innovative vehicles. For example, Oli, which is electric autonomous shuttle bus, Strati, which is the first 3D printed car, or Rally Fighter. Another interesting example is Dortrax, which is a company established by 2 Polish inventors who found some years ago a gap on the market. At that time, there was no plug-and-play 3D printer device available for commercial use. And they designed such a device. They created a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter platform. They raised the funds. By this, they also get initial clients and followers, and in the end also investors. And now their company is selling products all over the world in over 50 countries, gaining millions of income. So now they are, let's say, a big player in the additive manufacturing branch. Another interesting example is Kirky, which is a platform for social product development. So here, anyone from around the world can submit an idea for a product, and later on, other people can support the design. In the end, the product can be manufactured and sold. Thus, over 300,000 products were created in Kirky. And the last element of the presentation is infrastructure sharing concept. So this is sharing free capacity of machines and equipment in order to increase their use and strengthen the economy towards sustainable development of industry. We can define it as a Uber or Airbnb for advanced technologies. And here again, a platform is important as a space linking infrastructure provider and infrastructure taker. When referring to open innovation, there are also other related terms, including microtasking and microworking, hackathons, fab labs, or crowd investing. All of them help companies to innovate in a new way and to change their business models. Thank you for your attention.
Okay.
I will share the Kahoot session now with a bit of a guideline to the chat so everyone can read what they haven't tried it yet. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now. So I would like to ask you to take your phones and go to the website kahoot.it and join with the pin that will be available in a few seconds, and you can join with your name, and then we will go from there. So I will wait a few seconds. People are still adding up, so I will still wait for a moment. Okay, I think we can start the session. So it will be 2 simple questions regarding this pillar. The first will be open-ended one, so you can type in whatever you feel like, and you have 90 seconds to answer this question. You still have 40 more seconds to answer. Okay, 5 more seconds, and we will see the answers. Great. I see a few similar ones. And the second will be a simple yes or no choice. You have 30 seconds to answer it. Great. So for the time being, that is all for me. So I will give the word back to Joanna.
So as you could see, I think only 13 or only 3 answers were that open innovation is well developed in companies. So right now we would like to hear some expert on open innovation, Agnieszka Rodzivon, which is Associate Professor of Innovation Management at Aarhus University in Denmark, as well as Research Fellow at Haas School of Business in California in Berkeley.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be here with you. And I was so lucky to have a wonderful presentation by Maria already highlighting some of the key ways of practicing open innovation by companies. Before we get started, I would like to hear from you. So we already got some answers to the questions and some of the perspectives on open innovation sharing economy. But what I would like you to do now, before I jump into slides, is to use the reaction buttons on Zoom and let me know who of you was already part of or organized open innovation activities. Could be in general, not necessarily for SMEs. So if you are part of them, please use the thumbs up. So I would like to see your reactions. Okay, I see that Joanna was part of it or has some experience in this area. Okay, I see some people having experience, some people not having experience. Okay, great. So let's get us started. And I'm going to talk about the very specific activities that we've been practicing. I think we're quite successful in getting companies involved, and these companies were also quite satisfied with being a part of these activities. All right, let me quickly share the slides. Okay, can you see the slides? Everything visible? Wonderful. What we're going to focus on during the next 15 minutes is leveraging open innovation for SMEs, and specifically how institutions could benefit from and support this regional growth. And I mentioned regional growth because this is where, SMEs are usually scattered. And then, we also have different types of collaborations across the borders and international projects, but usually companies that are part of them, they were in the first place invited by some of the local partners. So we usually start with this local collaboration. Joanna already offered like a brief introduction, so that's correct. I work primarily in Denmark. I'm also affiliated with UC Berkeley. And then the examples and experience I'm going to focus on, as well as research, is mostly going to be related to Denmark and different types of collaborations we've been having. All right, so that's the brief agenda for now. What is open innovation? And again, Maria already did a great job sharing some insights, so I'm going to build on that. Then open innovation in SMEs, it's different. What is different between SMEs and large companies? I'm going to share some practical examples, and this will be from the perspective of a business school, and especially my department, which is quite special, meaning that we actually value a lot collaboration with industry. And in the Danish landscape, we are known for establishing lots of new collaborations and really trying to push the regional development altogether. And at the end, I'm going to share some resources. So if you want to have enough of open innovation after 15 minutes, there's a lot more than you can use their activities, you can join. And I also have like a little bonus for you I'm going to share later on in the chat. So you can all sort of leave with a little souvenir. All right, let's get started on open innovation. So here on the picture, you can see Professor Henry Chesbrough, Berkeley professor, my good friend and co-author. And back in 2003, Henry coined the term open innovation. And then what he denoted by open innovation was this idea of purposeful flows of knowledge across organizational boundaries. And then, of course, back then, it was Maria sharing the initial definition and how he looked into it and how it started with a third perspective. And later on, this definition comes from 2014. That's the latest one. We agreed not to develop any more open innovation definitions. We don't need any improvement so far. But this is where we started to go a little bit broader. So not just companies, different types of organizations. And then initially, the idea was to focus on money. So pecuniary benefits. How could we all be better in making money? But these days, we talk a lot more about grand challenges, circularity. So we would like to exchange knowledge also for other purposes and other reasons. By the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat. Just put them down and I'm going to get back to you at the Q&A session. And of course, you'll be very welcome to raise your hands and ask questions then. All right, there's several books published on open innovation, 2003, 2006, 2011, 14, and 19. And also the latest one, the Oxford Handbook of Open Innovation, published in 2024. And this is a co-edited work with myself, Henry Chesbrough, Wim van Havenbeke, and Joa West. And we have 137 contributors in this book, 57 chapters, 2 kilograms of knowledge on open innovation. Chapters are very, very short. So lots of topics we're going to discuss. I can assure you that we have a chapter on each of the single elements, like being crowdsourcing, open source, crowdfunding, and so on. So if you would like to get to know more about it, you're very welcome to get to the handbook and see the chapter, but there is something more, maybe a little bit easier way. How could you also find out about the content of these chapters? All right, what does this open innovation really mean, like in practice, right? It's a smart academic definition, exchanging the knowledge, purposeful, managed knowledge flows. It's like, okay, what does that mean for a company or for any other organization? So in the past, the way how companies operated and also what inspired Henry was that everything was closed, like everything was developed onto the closed doors of R&Ds. And then, in this research and development departments, there were some ideas, and of course there was an innovation funnel. We had to select which ideas are the best, the most promising. We couldn't invest in all of these ideas. But what Henry started to realize, that time he was back at Harvard and he started to study lots of companies in Silicon Valley and other places in the US. And he realized that, there are some ideas that grow in the company, and then they don't make it through the funnel. So companies decide that, oh no, this idea is not good enough. So we're not going to invest in it. We're not going to commercialize. We're not going to get it to the market. And then what he started to see is that sometimes companies would let these people, engineers, go with their ideas without any strings attached. And some of these ideas would be extremely successful, much more successful than the companies when they originated from itself. And this is where Henry started to coin open innovation and realize that, wait, but maybe we don't need to operate in this closed innovation paradigms, because ideas are getting outside of our organizational boundaries anyways. Maybe we can just acknowledge this, purposely manage, and maybe there will be more research conducted on this idea outside of our organization. But then closer to the market, maybe we would like to get this idea back. The same is related to ideas developed outside of our companies. Maybe it's okay that we don't develop all of the ideas ourselves, that they don't originate from our R&D departments, but they're developed by other organizations, and we just get them in at the different stages of development. And this is exactly what different types of organizations could do, and SMEs specifically, but we're going to get there very, very soon. All right, why practicing open innovation in comparison to the closed one? First of all, there could be new revenue streams coming from spin-offs, sales, divestiture, licensing, but they could be also a decrease of the cost and time to market. So we could be a lot faster, benefiting from the ideas coming from outside of our organizations. And of course, a very important part, sharing the risk. And this is still valid, and these are still reasons why many companies and organizations would be interested in pursuing open innovation. So this is how it looks like in regards to the innovation funnel. And of course, we have this beautiful terminology, inbound, outbound, and couple forms of open innovation, and the other one, inside out. So all of the ideas that come from inside and they are developed somewhere else. And then outside in. So all of the ideas that get into our organization from somewhere else. So what we're going to do now, as this has most relevance for our meeting today, we're going to focus on outside in open innovation. So these are different types of knowledge flows that get into our organization through these, dotted lines that you've just seen. All right, so the sources of this knowledge could be different, and Maria already pointed out some of them. Some of the most popular ones, this would be open source software, and then again, the possibility of multiple developers contributing to the code, and then also code being reviewed by multiple people. Crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, I'm not even getting into it. You already know a lot about it. IP licensing, university collaborations. This is something that we're going to spend a little bit more time on later on as well. Startup engagements, VC, corporate VC, supplier-driven innovation, and user innovation. All right, so before talking about open innovation SMEs and other types of open innovation, I would like to ask you a question. And then in order to answer, please use the chat. So the question I have to you is actually related to your experience about collaboration with SMEs. And my question is, what are the main challenges that you've been facing so far? All right, let's take this 2 minutes to put down the main challenges that you've been facing in this collaboration. I'm going to open the chat right now. Okay, I don't see any responses yet. Okay, I see Eva. All right, there's a trust, no trust, limited resources. SMEs not willing to share their knowledge. Oh, yes. Limited time to collaborate. IP not invented here. Oh, yes, that's a big problem. High effort required. Time constraints. Lack of openness to innovation. Thank you so much for sharing this. These are like really serious obstacles, and let's try to see how could we further work with them so that after the webinar you could actually come with some tangible sort of solutions or ideas. I see another one, no real focus on innovation. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Based on my studies or some of the studies with my co-authors, we actually realized that SMEs perceive innovation in a completely different way. So something that might be, considered as innovation by large companies might be completely different by SMEs. All right, let's get directly into it. All right. So open innovation in SMEs. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the differences in SMEs. So I think it was one of the colleagues that already mentioned that there are lots of SMEs, especially in Europe. And then some of the data that we looked into talk about over 90%. And then, of course, SMEs contribute significantly to job creation. So they create more or less 2/3 of jobs. But here's an important aspect. Whenever we look into SMEs, there's a different perception, even classification of SMEs between US, EU, and China. And this should be taken with a grain of salt. So I've been mostly conducting studies on SMEs in Europe and China. But then in China, we've been usually looking into high-tech SMEs contributing to green transition. But then this means that these high-tech SMEs, this could be up to 500 employees, which means that, in the other countries, this will be already large companies. And these benefit from different types of policy changes and support and so on really, really greatly. But an important part is that whenever we talk about Europe, we have lots of companies that, might be like one employee or like even micro enterprises up to 5 or 10 employees, and there are like many of them. And then SMEs are very much different across different sizes. So there is a big diversity. In my studies, I mostly focus on low and medium tech and usually manufacturing SMEs, as these might need special support. But this part related to diversity of SMEs, this is one of the challenges that I've seen across different collaboration possibilities, but also studies. It's just difficult to say that, and propose one size that fits all of them. And then this diversity also make it challenging to draw some of the conclusions. But then this might be related to statistical conclusions. What I'm going to bring right now, so now I'm done with the statistics, I'm going to bring some results from qualitative research and then from the experience of working with SMEs. All right, so an important part that was noted like on the early stages of open innovation is that SMEs benefit from open innovation in a completely different way than large companies. And this is because SMEs are much more dependent on the external partners for their innovation performance. So if they would like to innovate, and by innovation here, I mean even customization. So even if they would like to improve their offerings, oftentimes they really need to rely on their partners. And here partners, these could be suppliers, this could be different types of collaborators that they have, could be intermediaries, could be universities. Oftentimes we talk about SMEs, which are family businesses. So this is an extended family network that they rely on. And then some of our research findings, and also that's confirmed by colleagues from other countries, is that actually open innovation activities are performed much more intensively in SMEs, usually in the area of seeking knowledge. And again, it doesn't mean that there are no challenges, because all of the challenges that you mentioned are very, very valid. But these activities might really range. And then there has to be some kind of culture, some kind of a path of developing good relationships. And then, of course, the biggest challenge is that we cannot easily benchmark what we know from large companies and just take these exams and say, oh, now we're going to do the same, but in SMEs. All right. So what are the differences between how large companies and SMEs do and practice open innovation? And what's important for us? So first of all, our research shows that the main source of innovation for manufacturing SMEs are actually suppliers. So these are suppliers coming up with different designs, with different ideas. And for Danish companies, oftentimes they're actually Eastern European suppliers that Danish SMEs, they really value the input and knowledge and productivity. And this is what helps them to innovate and scale up. Something that we also see in the research is that the most trusted partners for SMEs, at least in Denmark, are actually universities and knowledge-intensive institutions. SMEs also have high trust towards different types of intermediaries, and they gladly collaborate, join events, they're part of cluster activities and arrangements. And this is actually very important because look, SMEs oftentimes they actually express their concern related to collaboration with large firms when they would just say that large firms don't prioritize activities with them too high. Then they might switch the money and interest very, very quickly. And then they only dedicate very few resources, so it doesn't matter. But actually SMEs, they dedicate a lot. In every collaboration, oftentimes it's the CEO being involved, like lots of smart people, that they have to make decisions. Are we focusing on our core activity and supplying to our current customers? Or do we want to focus on innovation or doing something else? Do we have time for it? Do we have resources? Do we have money? Right? Money, that's another constraint. And you already mentioned that this is a big problem, that SMEs are usually pressured on money and on different types of resources. But this is actually the possibility or opportunity for them also to get resources from outside of the organizational boundaries. The last thing that I wanted to highlight is the employee mobility as an important source of knowledge. So this is where people who work for large companies come and work for SMEs, and suddenly they bring a lot of knowledge from elsewhere. And this transfer is kind of natural. And in the regional setup, actually something that we've observed is that there are large companies attracting skilled workforces to come, like highly skilled. But sometimes these people want to change, or they see some other topics being interested. And there might be a level of involvement for employees in large companies when they don't see any more development. They're not challenged enough. And this is what they might be interested in switching to SMEs, where you need more development of the company itself. All right, let's jump into practical examples of how we in Denmark work with SMEs. And then one thing that I wanted to highlight is that, and this is also very relevant for you, each of the organizations that you represent have different goals and objectives. And it's super crucial for the decision-making process or strategic planning of which activities to get involved, that you make sure that all of these activities support your strategic objectives. And some of the strategic objectives that we want to support in Denmark as university, as first of all, research, then teaching, and then third is the employability of our graduates. So all of the activities that we perform, they're actually centered on these three areas. And either we would like them to, support one of them, or ideally all. So this is where I'm going to also focus and explain which activities contribute where. All right, there are three groups of activities that I'm going to focus on. The first one is it's related to student projects with the industry. We have three types of projects that we get involved in. And then probably an important part to mention is that for type 2 and 3, there is a requirement for all of the students to get companies involved. And they decide. It can be SME, can be startup, can be large company. And then we actually see that about 25 to 30% of all of the companies being involved in our project, these are SMEs. But again, for number one, so side projects to the courses, usually pass-fail. This is where we talk about group of students. And then oftentimes we talk about a professor who has an established collaboration or made their choices and invite companies to collaborate. Or there might be even companies coming in and say that, oh, you know what, we will be happy to establish collaboration with the university. And these projects are the projects where the students decide the specific focus. And this is how they learn how to see what kind of challenges companies have. And these projects are all tailor-made for the company. So there might be like a general topic, which is like course of strategy. I'm teaching qualitative research methods. So I tell students that, almost like sky's the limit. I just would like you to do a good project on the methodology side. You decide on the topic. And of course, please make sure you help the company. It could be like a small problem, right? So this is where SMEs are really nice and easy to collaborate, because usually they have like a set of urgent questions or issues where students could just come and help. And of course, students do it completely for free. And you get the supervisor as a quality assurance, kind of supporting the project. And this is what supports our university in the area of teaching. So this is where we would like to make sure that our students, they work not just with theories, but in real life problems. And this is how we teach them, starting from bachelor level, how they could help the local businesses. So how they could better understand what is happening in the business and provide the support. Next part, these are research projects. So we usually use the first one to get to know some of the companies better before we invite them for a very specific project. And as much as in the first section, it could be any company, regardless of what they do, manufacturing, service, big, very, very small, that's not a problem at all. When we talk about research projects, we would like to work with a very specific selected crowd. And either we have projects with budget for SMEs. I can tell this works best. But then usually this is the project where we work with action research. So really assume that there will be change that we implement in the company. And then we also have projects which are without the budget. But this is where the SMEs are usually a little bit bigger. And we oftentimes have a student, like a PhD student, spending some time of collecting the data. This might be a PhD student from our university, or maybe a visiting PhD student as part of the collaboration. And this is where person is developing like really in-depth insights for the company and also offers them a report. It's not exactly a consultancy work, but oftentimes I know that companies treat it as consultancy. And then the last one, probably most interesting. This is where we have municipality contracts and industry contracts. So this is something new that helps Danish universities to recruit high quality students. Universities like University of Southern Denmark, for instance, in Sønderborg, they just have, they discuss with companies what kind of skills companies from the region need and would like to see in students. And then the university asks the companies to commit for taking student workers, just to make sure that students from the very first semester of their studies, they can actually get an experience working for a company. And we talk about companies deciding how many students they could take. And then also we talk about the work for 10 to 15 hours a week. And this is a win-win both for the university and for the company, because after we talk about people being 21, 23, after 3 to 5 years of education, that they have 3 to 5 years of industry experience. And oftentimes we've seen that these people were hired by these companies. And this is also where I would see like a big role of intermediaries, of chambers of commerce, or different organizations that actually help in bridging these collaborations. If the university doesn't have any programs or doesn't have this relationship being established. And this will be also a possibility for universities to test it in kind of a small group setup. So I'm not saying that, oh, you know, we have 300 students per year starting in the program. It would be a lot to have like 300 placements. But if you could make this one group of 20 students and see how could it work if you test with 20 students, like a closer collaboration with the industry, I think it might be something interesting for both universities, students, and also intermediary organizations, right? And this is how the better collaboration could be established with SMEs, and it could be done step by step. All right, so I'm going to finish now with the stuff that I wanted to share with you. I'll be open for questions. And my last slide actually concerned activities that I would like to invite you to join. So if you would like to hear more about open innovation activities, every Thursday at LinkedIn, we have LinkedIn Lives, and they concern each of the 57 chapters of the Oxford Handbook of Open Innovation. And we also have a recording of the chapter on open innovation SMEs. We have World Open Innovation Conference. So if you would like to join me and my colleagues, and if you have some cases of open innovation that you would like to discuss, it could be both positive and also negative cases. There's still a possibility to submit the abstract for practitioners. So we talk about practitioners' experience until June 16th. And then we're going to meet in at the beginning of November in California at Berkeley. Last one is the Open Innovation Seminar. So now we are in the holidays period, but if you would like to listen about open innovation, if you would like to talk about open innovation, I'm running a weekly open innovation seminar. It's via Zoom. So we meet every Monday. It's like 10 a.m. California time. It's 7 p.m. Warsaw time. And then from September to December, we discuss open innovation, both from the research perspective as well as practice. So this is where we have people coming from multiple backgrounds, multiple countries, multiple organizations, and then everyone can be part of the discussion. And of course, for the academics on the call, please join us in Chicago on our annual Open Innovation Workshop. All right, so that was it from me. Let me switch to the chat. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And of course, I also have, I managed to open the chat right now. Yes, these are the links. These are the things I just told you about. So if you would like to follow us on Open Innovation Thursdays, please click on the link. If you would like to submit to a conference and meet us in California, please do that. And then there is an Open Innovation Handbook chapter on SMEs. It's available completely for free at ResearchGate. So that's a preprint version if you would like to have a deeper look. All right, that was it for me. Should we open for questions?
Yes, if there are any questions, please feel free to write them on chat. We can have maybe 1 more minute for questions, or maybe in the meantime, we can have the presentation of our second speaker, and then we can come back to the questions. together with both experts. So,
Sure.
so now I would like to introduce the Eva Ivankovic, the head of business operations and development on Treble, with the topic of unlocking the potential of sharing economy for SMEs.
Thank you so much for the introduction. And thank you for inviting me. It's been wonderful being both a listener and a speaker today. And thanks everyone for joining the webinar. So as you know, today's topic is unlocking the potential of sharing economy for SMEs. My name is Eva Ivankovic. I have worked as a regional community operations manager at Uber for 6 years. So I've been working in the sharing economy for quite some time, and I have also been working at startups for more than a decade. I've seen firsthand how powerful it can be if you actually give it a chance. Today, we will explore how leveraging shared resources can significantly enhance your business operations, reduce costs, and drive growth. So let's begin. The sharing economy, often referred to as a collaborative economy, is a socioeconomic system built around the sharing of resources. It involves the peer-to-peer based sharing of access to goods and services facilitated by that community-based online platforms. The sharing economy allows businesses to utilize the assets that were not or that are underused, let's say that, whether that's machinery, equipment, office space, or even human talent, however strange that word might sound, and optimizing those resources for better use and reducing waste. The sharing economy has existed for centuries. I think we're all kind of aware of it. Maybe we have called it differently, but it has, maybe even before money has. So it has since changed shapes, but the principles are the same. With the growth of industries, we've moved away from behaviors that felt maybe natural and that were like an instinct once. But you can think of modern sharing economy as an attempt to revive those community-based mechanisms in a more modern online way so that everyone and every business can actually thrive, no matter the size, right? And sometimes it's easy to see how platforms that offer sharing economy, such as Uber, Volt, Bolt, DoorDash, or depending on what is available in your countries, how they can easily profit, and maybe not so easy to see how small and medium-sized businesses can profit. So I want to focus on small and medium-sized businesses and how particularly it's beneficial for you. So firstly, it can significantly reduce costs. By sharing resources, you can avoid the high capital expenditures associated with purchasing equipment immediately or upfront. It's very relevant and important for businesses with tight budgets. And let's be honest, which business doesn't have a tight budget nowadays anyways, right? So instead of buying expensive machinery, the business can consider renting or leasing when and how they see fit or when they need it. Secondly, the sharing economy provides access to resources that might not be affordable in any other capacity. For example, shared offices or co-working spaces, as we call them, they are very affordable. They are very flexible working environments. They allow businesses to scale up or down based on their needs without long-term commitments or being locked in 5-year contracts with your landlord, right? In addition to that, the sharing economy promotes operational efficiency, something that is very important for small and medium-sized businesses where one person is already wearing multiple hats and has many roles and want to maximize that minute or resource, time, money, whatever it is. So by sharing also human capital, however that word odd might seem, I promise it's not actually weird, the businesses can tap into that diverse talent pool for various projects without the need for maybe a full-time hire. So this is beneficial on both sides because this is where you would see a lot of freelancers thrive, whether they're a photographer, a designer, a cleaning person, or a project manager. For businesses, this can be particularly useful for short-term projects or when they need specialized skill, or even if they're working in an industry or country that has seasonality, for example, like Croatia. in a real world examples where I'm coming from, I can give you several different examples for different types of businesses or different types of industry. So if we continue with an example of the shared spaces, we have the case of WeWork. That is a collaborative workspace. It provides tools, equipment for small startups, even a little bit bigger ones, or companies that offer flexibility in terms of remote work. So SMEs in particular here can access all the technology, conference rooms, printers, etc., right? Whatever they need, even a kitchen, for a fraction of the cost they would if they had to purchase it or actually lease an office. And this allows them to not to worry on that part, but to focus on innovation and production without having heavy investment, especially in the beginning. Another example, considering my background at Uber, I will touch upon that a lot. So we have, for example, Uber Freight, which is a transportation for big carriers, big trucks, long distances. So for example, businesses in the logistics sector can use those services that are available in some European markets to reduce transportation costs and increase efficiency. They can leverage the network of already available vehicles, ensure deliveries without having a large fleet of their own, right? On the other hand, something that might be closer to everyday use, we all know about certain delivery applications, whether that's DoorDash, Uber Eats, Glovo, or whatever is present in your market. It is also an opportunity for a business, especially a small business, to offer services there, because these platforms offer a variety of products other than just food. And this could grant the business visibility, reach, and brand awareness that could be more powerful than perhaps investing in traditional marketing channels. On top of that, it already provides logistics and delivery without you having taken care of it. That's already done. It does involve, of course, integration, but not as much as if you had a full-time staff working on it. And then to the opposite end, or in the other way, we have some businesses that have utilized these platforms in a different way. For example, if you are a small tourist agency that has its own fleet of tourist drivers, and outside of peak season, you might not have as much work because it's not a touristic season. Now with the sharing economy and services like Uber or Bolt, you can utilize that downtime by driving on platforms such as those. Obviously, you do not have to, but it's good that now with sharing economy, you have that choice. Prior to this, you did not have a choice. You just had a high cost and low profits during those times. So as you can see, these examples demonstrate how the sharing economy can provide very real, tangible benefits. It can help the SMEs to innovate and remain competitive, even when they're swimming in big seas with bigger fish. So I know that the big question is, okay, this is great, but how do I actually do it? And what are the steps? Like, how do I begin? And one of the ways to begin is first, you need to identify what are those underutilized assets that you have, or what is it that you might not even consider is valuable, but it would be for someone else. So this could be from office space, specialized equipment. Think and determine how these assets can be shared or rented out or leased out. And very importantly, second part is explore platforms that facilitate those resource sharing. The great start is, like I said, website for office spaces or equipment rentals. These are usually an excellent starting point. For projects that you might have or seasonal increases, look into freelancing platforms to find the expert that you might need. These platforms not only provide the access to resources, but often offer a community of businesses that are very similar or at least like-minded. And third, very important part is consider partnering with other SMEs. Everyone has a lot to offer, especially if they combine their efforts. So collaborate on projects, share expertise and experience, combine resources to achieve common goals. This not only maximizes efficiency on a business side, but it also builds a network of support and innovation. And as we know, having a small or medium-sized business sometimes might be lonely. You might be the only person employed. So definitely rely on that support, because in a way that brings us back to our origins, where sharing and trading was natural and something very humane and innate in us. And if you do start in doing this and or considering this, I know that we all know that it comes with certain challenges. Of course, any changes does. So it will take a little bit of time and resources to adjust it. Also, what could be a concern would be a trust or reliability of those services. So some things that you can do to mitigate that potential side effect or risk is to use platforms with strong reputation, that have very robust review systems that you can look into or scroll through, or be sure that many humans have seen it and relied on it. The next thing that you should do is establish very clear agreements and communicate expectations, because then you can have a smooth collaboration. Without that, if something is assumed but not clearly stated, there is a room for potential misunderstanding. And then the second challenge would be the integration of those resources into existing operations. Obviously, this varies from business to business. I don't think there are two companies with identical setup, but what you can do, or how I would advise to start, is to start small, test the waters with a few resources, and gradually expand as you become more comfortable with the process and when you start to see the benefits. So to end up with, the sharing economy offers very big potential, especially for small and medium-sized businesses. By reducing costs, providing access to otherwise unaffordable services, and promoting operational efficiency, it can empower businesses and people behind those businesses to innovate and grow. I really encourage you to at least consider it or start. Always feel free to reach out to people that are in the industries that are more likely to help than you might think. As they say, there are never stupid questions. So I am really looking forward to hearing some of your questions right now and seeing if there's any way I can answer them or help. Let me take a look at the chat right now. Thank you so much for your attention. So feel free to type.
I was
Oh, you can
mentioning,
reach out.
Eva, that
Sorry?
yeah, it's a great presentation, and I fully agree. I also mentioned the example that something that, as part of the research, we actually realized that was long before sharing economy, that SMEs were actually doing this already, like sharing employees, right? And they arranged it on their own because they thought there was a necessity. But I fully agree on the part of collaborating and trying to exchange knowledge when other SMEs might have a better understanding of your situation and so on. I think that the thing that was also mentioned by the audience was trust. So I'm not sure if you have any ideas of how to get it started, like how to overcome some of these trust issues, because it's normal that people think like, oh my God, what if they're going to steal my knowledge? I have this great business. What if they're going to steal my network, my suppliers, right? And if we talk about low to medium tech, many people could simply be afraid. Do you have any experience of that? How to work with that?
Yes, of course. And thank you for the question. I think it's normal to be maybe a little bit afraid or apprehensive. But the worst or the biggest step is the first one, right? To start. That's usually the most difficult one. But once you start, it's not as scary. And also, people are often, for example, in the startup world, people are often afraid that someone is going to steal their idea. But what happens is, idea is worth a penny, but execution is worth the millions. So no one can replace your effort. And even if someone knows about the idea, it's one thing to know about a great idea and the other thing to actually implement it. And if you have spent so much time and energy into building something, it's not as easily replaceable or copied. And even if someone does copy it, by the time they implement it, you're already going to be in the 10th step of it. So I wouldn't focus that much on it. People are a part of communities. We have been always, and it has benefited us the most. There are some risks, and obviously there will be maybe people who will try to take advantage of it, but that's always in less than, I don't know, 3%. And that, that the benefits far outweigh the potential negative ones. Thank you for the question. If anyone else has a question, I'm also available on LinkedIn. I am conscious that we broke the timeline, so I'm gonna stop talking now.
Thank you, Agnieszka, and thank you, Eva, for very, very inspirational speeches. So if there will be some questions, please feel free to write on chat, and also do not hesitate to contact our experts on LinkedIn. And talking about the knowledge and sharing knowledge, now I would like to ask Laura to say a few words about our inspirational knowledge base.
Thank you. I think you can see my screen now. Okay, great. Thank you for the word again. I would like to present our inspiration knowledge based on what we have been building in our SMERF project. So I would firstly like to start with a quote from management consultant, educator, and author Peter Ferdinand Drucker. It's whenever you see a successful business, someone made a courageous decision. So this is exactly what we are aiming to do with our SMERF project, is to try to help the SMEs to innovate and companies to maybe think differently to be better prepared for the future. As it was already mentioned, there are a lot of activities in the implementation, as it was presented by our lead partner. But I will only be talking about our platform readyforfuture.eu, which is available for everyone to check. Basically, it is divided into 4 parts regarding our 4 pillars. First is innovation culture, second is digital manufacturing, third is open innovation 2.0 and sharing economy, and the last is green and circular economy and sustainability. You can also choose from 7 countries, which are the partners in our project. So basically, whichever you choose, like whichever combination you choose, you will be able to see it there. It is quite easy to understand, I would say. So here is the actual content of one good practice. So you have a company with the description and what challenge they faced, and what helped them to solve it, and what is the evidence of success. You also have the potential for learning or transfer of the company. You have also the information on their website, so you can check them and be more aware of what they're doing. We are really hoping that by this inspiration knowledge base, we will inspire companies with these different cases from different countries and different areas. And now I would like to all invite you to our second Kahoot session again, which will be dedicated to inspiration knowledge base. So if you could all please take your phones again, and we will have a different pin this time. The content will again be 2 questions, one open-ended one, and the second with a simple yes or no option. Okay, I will wait a couple more seconds because we only have 10 participants. I think it was more in the first session. Okay, I guess that's it then, because no one else is adding up. Okay. Okay, still have 60 seconds left. So far we have 0 answers. I just wanted to be known that the answers and the feedbacks are for us very valuable after each of the webinars to make our projects and our project and the results better. So whatever you want or feel like writing down, we will welcome it. Okay, we still have 20 seconds. Okay, 5 more seconds. We have 5 answers. Okay, we're done. Okay, great. And now, simple yes or no. Okay, great. That's nice to see. I will give the word back to Joanna.
Thank you, Laura, for this information about our inspiration knowledge base. What we want to mention is that we will be, of course, building this knowledge base, so it will be growing, and we hope you will find a lot of interesting information there. As Mateusz at the beginning of our presentation said, that we are working on the transformation scenarios and on the way on how to assess the companies if they are ready in terms of the challenges of open innovation and sharing economy. And I have prepared some material for you to see what we will be working on.
Hello everyone, I am Paolo Gnudi from CRIT, and I'm here today to explain you the evaluation process that we developed to evaluate the companies that are going to take part to our survey and our tool more in general.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna share my screen right now. Okay. Okay, perfect. So today we are here to speak about the third pillar, open innovation and sharing economy. And we decided to divide it into 6 different features, which you can read listed over here on the screen. Then for each feature, we designed a certain number of questions connected to each feature. And then we decided to divide the answers into 4 different levels with a score ranging from -1 to 1. So when an answer is picked, then the connected value is registered by the system. Our questionnaire in general is going to be divided into 2 steps. The first step, which should take 10 to 15 minutes and should have a length of 10 questions per pillar, and it should give a general information indication of the SME's readiness in all 4 pillars without deeping into specific topics. Its output should be more verbose than numeric, and a radar chart with the scores will be also outputted. The second step will be taken after the first step, and at least 1 pillar should be processed during the questionnaire. In this case, we have a more specific deepening into the questions. It should take between 45 and 50 minutes with specific indications in at least 1 pillar. Its output should be the transformation scenarios that we were speaking about right before. And also in this case, a radar chart should be outputted with the evaluated scores. Here we can see an example output of the radar charts or possible outputs that the tool will have, how they will probably look like. So how do we link the scores registered by the questions basically to the transformation scenarios? We decided to divide the scores into 3 different levels. So a basic score, a medium score, and a high score. This differentiation takes part after the normalizations of the scores. So for each pillar, we will know if the measured feature lies in a green light, yellow light, or red light. We then link the activities that our consortium is going to provide with the different pillars, with the different features, coming from different pillars. It must be noticed that the same activity could affect more than 1 feature, and more than 1 feature could be affected by also different activities. So we are going to use this information to build up a triggering logic based on the traffic lights. So let's say that in this example, the first activity will probably be triggered since we have a green light, a yellow light, and a red light. But also another possible logic to trigger a specific activity is to have 2 yellow lights, 1 green light, and maybe no red lights.
Okay, so that was the general information about how we will evaluate the companies and their readiness for the future. So of course, this will be our upcoming works in next month. So if you are interested in this topic, so you can follow us in some social media on LinkedIn. We will provide also some more information about the works in our project. So I would like to thank you very much once again for our experts for their inspirational talks. We hope that you could see more benefits of using open innovation and sharing economy and how it can benefit your companies and your organizations. So from our side, we would like to thank all of you for your attention, and hopefully we will hear you soon again, or you could read about some more our activities in the network. So thank you very much for your time, and see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.